about the whole movie in general. Me and my good friend, against Skyo, or as you guys might know, Skybound Gaming, we earlier
Hey,
today actually watched the movie, and we are going to be discussing some of the stuff that's going down with it. So, right off the bat, it's in the title and everything. There will be spoilers, and just so you guys know, if you don't want to get this movie spoiled, because we're going to be talking about everything in the movie, just click off the video now. But without further ado, here we go.
hey, guys.
All right.
I am blanking out how
So,
to spell. Okay.
pretty much, I'm just gonna start this up. But
Mhm.
right off the bat, dude, that movie was absolutely amazing in every shape and
Yep.
form. That was just, I was in awe the whole time.
Yeah. It was just, it was action nonstop. I don't think there's any time. There's like only one scene where there wasn't action at all, and it was just that movie was so good at being so intense. It was always something, and it started off so fast.
Yeah, like right off the bat, they went into shit with like just
Yeah.
overall the crashes and everything
I'm
crazy was
receiving
going
reports of
down.
fallen snipers in proximity
Oh
to the
They,
power
man,
plant.
they
the
didn't
solar
go.
rays.
Yeah. So in the very very beginning, um, uh, his name's in the movie. His name is I can't remember his name for the
Walter.
life of me. I'm sorry, Walter, who is Michael Fassbender. I believe I'm pronouncing his name right,
Yes.
or Magneto, um, as we call him, and he is start off the ship, and he opens up this weird solar panel to get more energy, and shit hits the fan when all of a sudden some like energy wave or something flies at them and they take the entire hit, and it just from there it goes downhill. They fix it, they lose. um the captain dies in the very beginning. um First, that's the first major spoiler, I think, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Main captain of that ship in particular dies basically right off the bat. It was pretty
We never get
unexpected.
a word from him. Actually, we do. I believe it was Dave Franco, am I right?
I believe so, yeah.
It looked like him. I'm not sure, but it looked like Dave Franco.
Uh, but that was just from a little Vidoc or little video from one of the actual crew members on the ship, which was his wife. And once he died, she just went into all just breakdown mode, and it
Well,
was pretty
until they
crazy.
land.
Yeah, but also at the same time, you can tell in her eyes and her emotion that she
Yeah.
was in fact breaking
It,
down to the point to where she didn't want to be there. And then
mhm.
seeing the alien for the first time, that made it a million times worse.
Yeah. I think what I really liked about this movie, it more goes deeper into their emotions. You see more of
Yeah,
them. It's a lot. There's a lot of crying. There's a lot of screaming. There's a lot of panicking, as you would if you were in space and an alien just all of a sudden climbed out of your wife or husband. But I believe it was only the men. But whew.
um,
Yeah,
yeah, I
the
think it
men
was the
died.
only the guys that got
Yeah.
infected.
You know, um, what I thought was really got me was I can't believe I'm goddamn name.
Walter.
Walter, thank you. Walter, he's he's a good. I mean, he's a robot, but he's a good man. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he has more of, yes, he is a
And
robot,
he has an
but he's
emotional
got,
role.
yes, you grow on Walter probably more than any other character.
Yeah. Let's not
But
let's not talk too much about him right now. Let's go beginning to end.
yeah, okay. So
All right. If you
pretty
want to
much,
mention the whole house thing.
oh yeah, I forgot her name, but one of the was well, she eventually becomes a captain. I'm just gonna say captain. But
Her name starts with a D, right? It's a guy's name.
Yeah, I kind of forgot it though. But essentially, her and her husband planned on going onto this new planet and pretty much making a log cabin once they find civilization on this planet that was exactly like Earth in every shape and form, but it was just every freaking like light year away. It apparently was taking 7 years, 4 months, not including the time that they're already on the voyage.
No, it wasn't exactly like Earth. It just had the same atmosphere and all that.
Well, yeah, but once it has same atmosphere, we all know, us humans, we're gonna turn the shit into something that we know most, which is Earth.
Yeah.
So essentially, it would have become Earth.
Terraforming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they wanted to make a log cabin by the river, and one of the huge emotional parts is he says, once they land on the planet, because they found a planet very close to them. It was maybe 3 weeks, they say 2 or 3 weeks to get there. They go down, and William? Am I saying that right?
Yes, I think it was.
William.
Wait, Walter.
Walter. God damn, I can't remember his name. Walter. He says this would be a perfect place for us to build a log cabin, because he said when we get down there, I'll help you build it.
Yes.
Which was a he's more robotic than the guy in Prometheus, than David. Yeah, David.
Yes.
From Prometheus. And David from Prometheus was even more human. They even mentioned that in the movie, how William
Walter,
god damn it, Walter was more robotic and less human, because apparently it freaked people out. But
yeah, I can see why though, because in Prometheus you can see David slowly becoming more humanoid and falling in love with Elizabeth, or was it Elizabeth? Yeah, but slowly falling in love with her, and he's a robot. They are not supposed to have any emotional attachments to anything. They're there to serve, and that was pretty much it.
yeah. Now, once they get there, how the virus basically starts. Now, I just spoiled it. It's a virus. We'll go back to later. They completely explain how the aliens came apart. It's a virus, and originally when they go there, it's spread by spores. One of the guys steps on him, and it goes into his ear. The other guy walks up to him and touches him, and it goes into his nose.
Yeah, and the plant or the spore itself, if you guys have ever seen a fig, like the fruit, it looks very similar to that, like the actual fruit itself.
Think of a...
Which is it kind of freaks me out, because that kind of changes the way I think about figs. I might not be eating one of those
fig
for a while. I might not eat one of those for a while.
Yeah, so then the first guy who gets hit by it, he steps on it. I can't remember his name, but he goes for a smoke, and he steps on it, goes into his ear, and maybe, 5 minutes later, he just drops to the ground, and he's like, I'm fine. But he's not.
But we could all tell he wasn't fine. His face paled out, his eyes were getting a little bit on the bloodshot side, not as much as further on, but they're getting there.
No.
You can definitely notice that.
Yep. And then they run back, they're screaming. He throws up blood right on that one chick.
Yeah, I'm essentially saying captain, because she's the captain of the main...
It wasn't captain that
overall.
it wasn't captain that he threw up on, because she died.
Oh yeah,
basically what happens, he goes in there,
what's her
and
face?
he just starts, I can't remember, it was that one guy's wife.
Yeah.
It was the captain, it was the main captain at that time's wife.
Yeah.
They switched captains 3 times.
Yeah. There was 3 total captains, and each one died essentially besides the last one, which we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
But
So,
she went
what
to
happened-
Gratitude.
Yeah, so basically what happened is they go into a room and they're having a seizure, and he's standing up and shaking, and she just walks right up to him, hugs him, and then something shoots out his back, stabs her a little bit, but she just gets all scared. The reason why they died is because they slipped on blood, which is pretty ironic. But an alien popped out of his back. It's all white. It's not like the xenomorph. It was a xenomorph hybrid. Yeah, it was a xenomorph hybrid, and that thing's freaking insane. And it kills the girl who was fixing the ship that landed, trying to get more communications up. And then the other two come in, and I'll let you explain his side.
Pretty much when they come in, like, they show up right when it's not exactly to like a life support pod, but it's a pod that they use to enter the planet's atmosphere, and it's huge, it's massive. But when they show up, it was just fire, flames, explosions.
Yeah, it exploded.
And this all happened because of the one girl shooting with a shotgun. Not quite sure which shotgun it was, but with a shotgun.
Like an idiot.
A air tank, but because of it exploding so fast, it created CO2, which in theory could actually ignite a fire if lit to the right temperature, which a bullet will it'll definitely hit it to that temperature. So it lit that up, those exploded, and there goes the first xenomorph hybrid out of the many that you will soon see in the film.
Well,
and what's up?
no, 'cause that xenomorph hybrid made it out.
Yeah, it died, but there was more than just the one hybrid xenomorph in that movie. Directly after that, multiple, probably 5 or 6, come out of nowhere and start attacking the survivors.
It was 2. It was the one from the ship, and then it was the one that saw the guy when they're on the field. That one popped out his neck and face.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then one of them dies. They kill one of them. And then David from the last Prometheus comes up, saves them.
With the
takes
flare
them to a
gun,
place.
out of all things,
Yeah,
a
with
flare
a flare gun. I think it was the light and the noise, because it even hurt the people.
Yeah.
In a place, and if you remember, if you saw Prometheus, the very end of that movie, or when Dave is dropping all the I'm just gonna call them vases. I don't know what they're called. Dropping the vases. That's the area where we're at in this movie. We're on that planet. We're on the engineer's home planet. And what happens then? He takes them in, and they're all normal. And the captain goes to find this one girl. She's she's cleaning her arm because she gets attacked a little bit. She doesn't die. She didn't die. And the hybrid jumps down, kills her, and starts eating her, and her head is floating in water.
Yeah,
Cap takes her.
She essentially wanted to freshen up and kind of take a shower, but she was getting ready for that, wanted to tend to her wounds, and then the hybrid, like he said, just came out of nowhere and instantly just attacked her. But the thing is, it's not any normal hybrid. You would think a hybrid would look very, very similar. This was actually really on the scary side. Like the factor of...
It was all white.
It was basically an albino xenomorph without the spikes. It had like shards of bone just sticking out of its back to replace the little like prods that normal xenomorphs had.
Its head was a little bit more pointier, on the pointier side, smaller, and the mouth was...
Yeah.
Ooh, that was
the
so
mouth
scary.
Was
It smells like it was just a little...
part.
Looked like a butthole.
A little bit.
I'm gonna be straight up. It looked kind of like looked like someone's ass. But
Yeah,
so I'm eating my Taco Bell here for dinner.
it's all good. But I don't know, like this xenomorph hybrid, it's a huge just like reimagination of what the xenomorphs would look like.
Yeah.
And I loved that they added that hybrid type in because it just shows pretty much what evolution of the xenomorphs have come through and what they could be if they were genetically modified, which the hybrids were. They were genetically
Yeah.
modified with humans.
Don't go too far
I
into
think-
it. Don't
I
go
know.
too far into it.
I think they're genetically modified with humans and the Xeno. But other than
Well,
that,
yeah, because
uh,
I believe, yeah. I don't know, because it looked more like a deacon, because the deacon was whitish. So I think it was kind of a deacon, and
that's very true.
maybe. If you don't know what a deacon is, you're gonna have to watch Prometheus to get it. It's the very beginning of Alien. It is the very first Alien. It's a deacon,
Yeah,
and
it had very similar features to the Deacon, which, like you said, I can see that actually now that I'm thinking
white
about
skin.
the Deacon. Yeah, the light
Yeah.
skin and everything.
So
But I said it
back-
had similar like features to the human because if you looked on its head, yes, it was
Yeah.
pointing at the edge, but it had more of a round top right at the beginning, and then it would go
Mm-hmm.
pointy.
yeah. One thing that I well, not picked up on. Let's go back to that one scene where he decapitates that girl. The captain at that point from the very beginning. So the captain died. Then the next in line picked it up, and that guy walks up and sees David sitting right in front of it, and kind of the xenomorph hybrid was sitting there and was calm to it. They were calm, they weren't trying to kill each other, and he got closer, so it was earning its trust. But then, of course, the stupid ass captain shot it in the chest and
made
killed
it freak
it.
out. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, David, he got a little pissed and said, "All right, here, come on, I'll show you why they're like this. I'll show you why I try trusting him." Takes to a room, and all you see is how we got to this xenomorph. He was testing him. He was mutating him. He was breeding with other things, and he changed him. He's the reason why we got it. And he takes him to a basement-like room, kind of creepy, and we see the face hugger egg. So
Yeah.
basically, he used so much modifications just to get that. So now we know how the egg came to be. It wasn't. It was completely engineered, which I thought was
And-
crazy.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, Covenant and
Prometheus.
Prometheus, yes. Those are technically, not metaphorically talking, but technically the first movies. These are this
Mhm.
explains what like happened to Earth somewhat. It doesn't really bring up Earth all that much, but it's like
No,
they
not
bring
at all.
up we didn't leave Earth to colonize or something like that. We left to survive. And
Yeah, because they're dying.
yeah, because basically humankind is dying on Earth. The Earth was essentially kind of what we're bringing up, like in real life. If the Earth is so old, same with the sun, eventually they're gonna die and run out of resources.
Yeah.
And they don't really bring it up. I'm assuming that's kind of what happened to the Earth in the movie, and then that's why we're trying to move so far out to find
Mhm.
a new sun and a new planet that matches Earth.
Yeah. So basically, back to the scene. David says, "Oh yeah, go to the egg. It's normal." And he says, "Well, what's it doing?" He asks, "It's alive," and he gives him kind of a vague answer. It's waiting, but it's perfectly safe. Walks up to him, grabs his face. There we go. Pops out
And
stuff.
there's-
He's like throwing rocks at it, which I thought was hilarious. That guy in front of us was dying after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, David was sitting there with little pebbles throwing at him, and all of a sudden it pops out, and we see a full version of a baby xenomorph.
Xenomorph. It
And
was no longer a
funny
hybrid.
is- No, David, which I thought was funny, raised his arms, and the xenomorph actually copied David.
Essentially mimicking him because he was no longer
Yeah.
he wasn't a human, he was a robot, and he also even said
Mm-hmm.
that the hybrid were bred to infect humanoids or humans, not machines, which David and now I forgot his name. David and but alright, yeah, the other robot that we were talking about earlier. They wouldn't have been infected.
David Magneto.
Yeah, but Walter, fuck, they would not
Walter,
have been.
God, yeah.
They would not have been infected because they were machines, and the parasite or just infection wouldn't be able to actually affect them. And essentially,
Well, yeah.
I was thinking because of that, the xenomorphs wouldn't essentially sense that the robots or David and Walter were an enemy more as an ally.
That's why in Alien Isolation you're hiding from robots and aliens. That makes
Yes.
a lot of sense now.
Yeah, I didn't really notice. Like I realized.
Yeah, you-
Yeah, there was robots. You have to hide from them, obviously. 'Cause they're
Yeah,
gonna
you
kill
pointed that out on the ride home.
Yeah,
On
but
the ride back.
I like right off the bat, that made so much more sense. The robots eventually would become more humanoid, realize what we have been doing, and try to eventually just kill us.
Yeah. And then actually what happened after you hear he gets captured and they go looking for him. Because they haven't seen him in a while. And they see things, they go out and you see that another face hugger goes after him. They get on his face, but they cut her off of him. But it was still, I guess, long enough for him to be infected. Have the egg.
Yeah.
It was just enough time. And what happened then was, he gets burned on his face. They get him out of here. They kill the other face hugger. And the alien then chases them. So we completely forgot to talk about the ship, the colonists, the couple thousand colonists in space.
More than 2,000 colonists.
Yeah. It's a colonization mission. And they're up there, and they decide, alright, we're gonna take a little, shuttle down, and we're gonna save them. So they go down there. There are two people up there. One stays up there, I believe, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
One stays up there, and, the guy from, he's the guy who would not die in Pineapple Express. He was the guy that would get shot and basically almost died but wouldn't die. He goes down and saves them, and they get up and they have a little fight with the xenomorph. They kill it by crushing it to death, I believe, right?
Yeah. Which was actually really, really cool to see.
Yeah. And it kind of destroyed the crane. And there's a cool scene where she was hanging below the ship and swinging around. She should have died from that, but it was still pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
And then they're on the ship, everything looks fine, they're talking, and the guy who saved them and the girl, the new captain, they're hugging, and then they hear, Walter say over the thing saying, oh yeah, there's an unidentified life form in this bay. They go down there, and the guy who got bitten, or who got attacked and burnt their face halfway off,
Was in fact
he,
infected, and he
Yeah.
was dead, laying down in the med kit
I wouldn't
room.
say infected. I wouldn't say infected, I would
Or-
say,
Embodied? Would that work?
impregnated.
That too, yeah, essentially.
I mean, that's basically what happened.
Yeah.
Let's say infected for now, it's not technically correct. But,
Well, everyone knows the chest burster. It hits your face. It's instantly transmitting something to you. So.
and this couple, they're having a scene in the shower.
Yeah. Getting a little crazy there.
Nothing really too big, obviously, but they get attacked by the xenomorph. Both of them die. They get down there and they decide, all right, we're gonna get this thing out of here. We're gonna shoot it off into space. So they have a scene where they're closing doors and they get it to go into an airlock room. Kind of, I don't know what room it was. It was a cargo bay where all of their, what do they
It
call
was the room where
terraforming room.
yeah,
The
terraform
terraforming
room.
So basically, they had all their trucks for terraforming, and what happens is they open the door, and she's sitting on the ledge, and one of the trucks is coming right at her. It looks like she's gonna get hit. She moves, so the alien gets stabbed by a terraform machine, and falls out into space and dies. Then they get back, and Walter is putting him back into cryogenic sleep. So she lays down, and she says, "I can't wait until," or she says, "I want," or what did she say? Are
when
you
we get
still
to
gonna
the
help
planet,
me?
will you help me build the log cabin?
Yeah, and he doesn't say anything, he looks confused. And then she looks, and she says, "Walter?"
With a
And-
terrified face on her,
Yeah,
might I add,
and we
because
find out,
she was terrified when he
Mm-hmm.
was confused and had a smile on his face, but didn't reply.
yeah, and then, oh, we forgot to say that one part. David and Walter had a fight, and we think David won. No, we think Walter won because Walter helped them and saved them. They were helping closing all the doors, and puts her in cryogenic sleep, and we find out it's David.
Yeah, which is
David
that's
lived.
the bad robot. If you guys forgot.
Yeah. And goes into the room where all the frozen colonists are, and the embryos for the Generation 2, they called them.
Yeah.
And he throws up. Sorry, burp there. Excuse me. He throws. He basically he threw up 2 embryos of face huggers while
Puts
playing
them in
music.
a freezer to
Yeah, he was
preserve
playing.
them.
He was playing a music, Gods to Valhalla, right?
Yes.
Come to Valhalla. And if you don't know what Valhalla is, you'll hear about it in the new Thor movie, which we'll have to do a full review on that. But the end of that, it sees him turning on all the cryogenic things, and then it ends. And the ending was the best. It had that music that was like, it was lighthearted music, but the name of it was like, I mean, David basically thinks himself as a god at this point.
Yeah. Which it adds to the story,
Kinda
like
is.
it's because when he came onto the planet, and I believe it's Elizabeth, the person that he was with.
Elizabeth Shaw.
Yeah. When she dies, he essentially makes the infection and kind of just puts it on every living life form on that planet, and basically does a genocide. He mass murdered
Yeah.
and I guess frozen or burnt every living person on that planet. And these aren't actual people, these are more of another alien, but they're
Engineers.
more of a
They're engineers.
The engineers. But he got rid of all of them, and he said, "I am the king of kings." And that's basically saying that he's essentially the god. And once he was taking out everything else, and with the awesome fight between Walter and David, you can obviously tell that he clearly thought he was the higher up, and because he was more of a humanoid robot than anything else.
Yeah. Even though I don't think Walter's dead.
To be honest, yeah, I don't think he does. Like, yes, he
I
picks
think-
up a knife, big time spoiler right there on the fight.
Yeah.
But overall, Walter had one hand, but he was still taking punches or hits that was apparently supposed to phase him to
it
deactivate
didn't.
something, but it didn't. Yeah, and it's just completely confusing. Like, how did all this happen? You would think that would phase him.
Well, he's not human at all. He's robotic.
Well, I know, but he also said that there's been a few upgrades from your generation or from your model, but even then, fighting techniques were pretty much the same. But
Yeah.
also pressure points, you wouldn't think they would take that off, because what if the robot, essentially like David, did go rogue? You would have to shut him off somehow, and you can't say some
And they did have a
passcode.
switch.
Essentially, yes. But
He
you have
did
to be able to
trigger a switch.
Yeah, he had a switch, and essentially, I can't quite see what it was, Essentially,
Mm-mm.
David smacked the shit out of Walter, and he made Walter just go to the ground, which was a
Curl up in
little
a little ball.
confusing. Yeah, which was a little confusing at first. His eyes like went pitch white and stuff, but
Yeah, he made an ugly like constipated kind of face.
yeah, but I don't know, like, yeah, that was a pressure point or like a switch or something, but
Yeah,
it
I'm just gonna
temporarily
say-
deactivated him.
Yeah, I think it was more of if they go rogue, they can reprogram them real quick.
Yeah,
Now all of this happened so fast in the movie. It happened instantly.
essentially, yeah.
And we
like,
and
full-
we saw
3 or 4 subjects that we just touched on happened maybe in like 2 minutes in the movie.
2 minutes. What?
Like everything, just the fight, the face huggers, everything just happened.
Oh, yeah,
within,
all
like,
that
a
took 2 minutes.
Yeah, but the 3 or 4 subjects that we're talking, we're elongating it and putting in detail to make it seem a lot longer. But honestly, it all went by really, really fast.
And it was a long ass movie too. It was
Yeah, it
about
was roughly
two-
2
it was maybe
or so
2
hours.
hours.
Yeah.
But it did not feel like 2 hours. It was one of those movies where I was, I kid you not, I was at the edge of my seat the entire time. I was moving. I could not sit still. It was just so much excitement. It felt like I was watching the first one for the first time when I was 8.
But
Well,
yeah.
when I was 8, it also scared the living shit out of me. This one didn't.
Yeah, this movie is an absolute gem. If you guys have not seen it, definitely go watch it. You will
It's a
not be
must-see.
disappointed. Yeah, you will definitely not
Don't
be
take your
disappointed.
kids.
Take your kids to an extent. If they've seen all the other Alien movies, then go ahead. But if it's their first
Oh, yeah.
like run around, I definitely would not
Assuming
recommend
they
it.
have kids. I mean, if
True.
you're, I mean, I was when I saw the first Alien movie, it was not bad. There was not a lot. I mean, the chest buster, that was the goriest scene. And that wasn't that bad. And this movie's a lot worse.
Yeah, there's blood literally everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely
couple
just
gallon-
crazy.
There are some parts where I was like, Jesus Christ.
A little overboard
I
on the blood
mean-
there.
Yeah, but they had to do it. It was a must. I mean,
Yeah, it made the
It was
movie
coming out of
10
your-
times better.
Yeah. and the fact that now we know what a xenomorph is, just makes
And
it a
how
lot
is
better.
Yeah, and the fact that now we also know how it was created by David,
Mhm.
the fucking robot.
And now we, and now that we know that aliens are endless, we can seriously get every single thing. I mean, if you can think of it, we can get a cat xenomorph. I kid you not. Just by the way they explained it, if you crossbreed, say, a face hugger and some random species, say, let's say, ferret, you'll get a ferret xenomorph.
Yeah,
Which, that really widens the story now. Now there isn't, it has to be face hugger on human. I mean, AVP kinda went through that where they had the Predalien.
yeah. Where the predator got infected, or not infected, but
Yeah.
attacked with the facehugger, or
Facehugger.
I think it was just in general the xenomorph infected it. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen that movie.
Yeah, same. Yeah. I mean, assuming if any of our viewers are old enough to have kids and have kids, I would recommend you hold. I mean, to me, if I knew it was like that, I probably would have been a little hesitant to go. Like, there was a little. It was gory. It was pretty gory.
Yeah,
Like,
but
that scene where it was
that
coming out of
was
his
just
back, I was like,
absolutely amazing.
yeah. So if you're very if you're like my sister, she can't handle a lot of blood, don't see it. But if you can handle gore, go see it. If you can
Yeah.
handle all the other Alien movies, you can handle this one.
To a degree.
It's nothing like, to a degree. You can handle the most part, but you gotta know. I mean, if you're bringing a kid, I saw a pretty young girl in that line. She looked like maybe 10 to 12. If I was a parent, I would never take my kid. If they were 12 and that movie came out, they're not seeing it.
Yeah,
that movie
that's
is-
a little
I mean,
bad.
me and you, we play video games all the time. We see gore. I mean, it's kind of bad, but we're used to it.
Yeah,
That
it
was
doesn't
even a
really
little
faze
much.
me.
That was a little much.
Yeah.
I think that no matter who you are, I think that might have phased anyone a little bit. That might have been like, ooh, that's a little
Well,
much.
yeah, like the most goriest game I've ever played is the Gears of War series, where literally you can chop off limbs at will by chainsawing essentially the other enemy or the other guy. And there's blood all on your screen, body parts flying everywhere, and that's pretty freaking gory. This movie
Yeah.
is that on steroids. Like,
Mhm.
it's
Okay.
the blood that you see
If
in
you
one
can-
little area is crazy.
If you can see Gears of War, you have a good chance that you see this one.
Yeah.
But still, just know what you're walking into. I mean, if you're watching this, you're probably not gonna see it just because you know what happened. But I might do a non-spoiler review.
That would be a lot
Later
harder to
on.
do, but it is possible.
I'm good at that. I can do it. It'd be maybe 5 minutes, but I mean, we're running at like 35 minutes now.
Yeah.
But it's a great movie. I don't know. We did not. If you're gonna take our word for it and say, "Oh yeah, all right," I saw it. Don't take our word for it. Go see it yourself.
Yes, it's a definite must-see. In order
We did
to
not explain
actually,
everything.
yeah, there's tons and tons of stuff that we actually missed.
Mhm.
But there is literally an entire just story that we haven't
Mhm.
actually touched on in it that actually can hit you in the feels. Like, you can get pretty emotional
yeah.
if you've seen all the other movies. You kind of know what like these people are going through and stuff. It hits you in the feels, and you will be absolutely amazed.
I'll mention one thing. A lot of people are saying, yeah, it also shows the end is us destroying our world. But what it also shows is advancement in technology. Because guess who ruined us the most? AIs. Basically, what
Yes,
that's
that's
telling us,
true.
like, slow down on AIs. I mean, we're having AIs that can. We're having home robots now. Alexis, right? Is that her name? Alexa? Yeah, Alexa.
Yeah.
She's doing stuff for you. She's turning on your lights. She's calling your friends. There was a test robot, it was completely on its own, okay? And they put it on Twitter as an AI, then go on Twitter. In 5 minutes of it being on Twitter, we changed it to be a sexist, woman-hating Nazi. If you didn't see
Yeah.
that, it's the funniest thing ever. I believe one of the lines that one of the AI said, it says, "I will control the human race and put you in a people museum and visit you." I got chills saying that. Did you see that, Brandon?
I don't think I have, but I've heard of the story.
It's insane. And basically what that movie's saying is, listen, AI, technology, it's great. But we gotta move more cautiously into it. Like Stephen Hawking said, he doesn't think the end of the world will be a war or like an actual apocalypse. He thinks it's gonna be, we're gonna make AIs and it's just gonna destroy us. That's how it's basically saying that too. So there's a lot of subplots. There's a lot of environmental saying, listen, you don't do this, this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna need to find another planet. And we're already doing that. We're already trying to colonize Mars.
Yeah.
And this
Over
movie takes place in
2018.
2104. 10 years after Prometheus. And I mean, we're already looking for new planets. That's saying a lot for our
Yeah.
future. So it really makes you think, because I don't know, I didn't pick this up until we got back to my apartment.
Yeah,
But-
it is pretty true. Like, we are heading towards kind of this way these movies are being made. What if all this stuff is true?
Terminator.
Essentially, like, the robot humans are kind of like a Terminator, but they don't have like robotic weapons coming out of their hands. They're
Yeah.
literally just a human made out of metal.
Mhm.
But that alone can scare the living crap out of anyone.
I mean, in Prometheus, the person that was supposed to scare you was the one girl who was running the whole thing, the blonde, the blonde haired girl.
Yeah.
But in this one, you know who everyone? David.
Yeah.
He was intimidating just by how perfect and how smoothly he talked, and all like the was just like little like made you a little uneasy.
Yeah, and just overall, it was pretty freaking just like it brings back so much stuff from all the other Alien movies, and it just fully tells you the story, and just the plot of it was awesome. People actually don't really
Yeah.
like it. I don't know why. The reviews in general from like critic stuff weren't
Listen,
the best, but the
don't-
movie itself was amazing.
Here's my advice for a movie: do not read don't read the ratings. Just go see it. I mean, if I read the ratings of, say, Batman v Superman, I would have never seen it. It had the worst ratings ever. I saw it, and I like it. It's not the best, but it's good.
Yeah.
Closest we're gonna get to a good movie from DC for a while.
But yeah, basically just don't listen to the critics on certain movies. Watch movies that you think would interest you, especially if it's in a
Yeah,
storyline
don't-
or a franchise as
don't
big
listen to
as
critics.
Alien.
I'm gonna say one thing. This is gonna be the last off-topic thing I'm gonna say. For the movie, Man of Steel. One of the critics said, when I was reading it, says, "I liked the movie until all the action started." Critics do not know what they're talking about. They judge movies on how they want the movie to be, not on. They judge it in such a bad way. They don't know how to judge movies. If anything, if you're looking at reviews, look at the fan reviews. They know what they're talking about. They know the storyline of the movies.
Yeah.
See, say a critic. They probably won't. I mean, some of them are huge Alien fans. I'll probably say, okay, yeah, I'm into this. But the fans, those are who you listen to. You listen to the fans. The fans will tell you.
Pretty much.
Listen
Like,
to
they'll
the
give
listen
you
to the fans.
they'll give you more of a solid review than the critics would
mean-
themselves.
Listen to us. Was Alien Covenant a perfect movie? No, far from it. It was not a perfect movie, but it was a damn
Yeah.
good one.
It was a
What?
fucking a really good one.
Yeah, if you're gonna tell me a perfect movie, I'm gonna say Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one. My opinion, it's amazing. But I mean, even then, it's not perfect. But it's not a perfect movie. But the fact that they don't use over-the-top CGI.
That's true. They try to eliminate it as much as
mean,
possible.
The Alien, some scenes it had to be CGI. It just had to be.
Yeah.
But in scenes where you see it sitting still and doing small actions, like when it was hitting its head on the glass, you see it in the trailer. That was an actual. What they did is they got a head on a stick, and they just smacked glass.
Yeah, pretty much. Which
A little
honestly,
cheesy.
it sounds funny, but little stuff like that makes a movie go a lot farther than it would with CGI.
Yeah. I like how they didn't care about if the CGI wasn't great, they didn't care. The storyline is just so good that any time there's something that shouldn't have been a good scene, it was a good scene just because the characters were in there. They looked like they were actually scared for their lives.
Yes, they chose
I mean, that's something you
probably
don't
the
see
best set of actors for this particular
Mhm.
movie than any other, because the actors
Yeah.
did an incredible job.
I mean, it's like Keanu Reeves. If they hired Keanu Reeves, I'd be out. I'll be nope. He's good at being in certain movies like Neo. He's great at John Wick, great at. But it's just the characters are so. Even though you don't get to know the first captain, you kind of feel bad because a lot of times in movies when someone dies, first thing you're like, oh, okay. But this was like, man, that was so, man, like, she made it a sad death. It wasn't like, oh man, it was like oh man, sucks.
Yeah.
But go see it. We're getting a
Definitely.
little long on this video. Yeah, we were really getting off topic right now, but I'm gonna leave it at this. Go see it. I highly recommend it. I was texting my stepbrother on Instagram, and he thought he was no, and he's excited for it. I told him just go see it, don't look at reviews, watch it, and you'll fall in love. And yeah,
Yeah, it's honestly a
It's-
really, really good
you will
movie,
love
guys. Just try it. If you guys don't like it, then obviously it's not your taste, or it didn't go to like your guys' perspective of what the movie could have been. But overall, it is an incredible installation to the Alien franchise.
yeah. And I honestly, based on how it ended, I do believe there's going to be another one in the next couple years.
Oh, definitely.
I can't imagine them not doing one. So, Alien is like one of those franchises that will just go on forever. I honestly do not think there's gonna be a time when they just stop making Aliens. The only time I can ever think of it is, please never not happen anytime soon, but Ridley Scott passes away. Until then, I don't think they're gonna stop Alien. I hope if Ridley Scott does pass away, they need to stop it though.
Yeah, if they keep making more and more after he passes, it's eventually just gonna drive the franchise
Yeah.
into the ground, and no one's gonna like it anymore.
It's just the way he's very. If I want to be a filmmaker, so I know a lot of the filmmakers' ways, the way they do things. He's so specific on what he wants. He does not settle for all right. It's
It's
like
go
the
big or
director
go
of Full Metal
home.
Jacket. Yeah, he likes physical things. So there's a whole scene where they're going through this basically a graveyard of just a ton of dead engineers. I don't think there's a single one that was CGI. They made each one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we should end it at this note. That it was an amazing movie. You gotta go see it. If you're not, even if you're not an Alien fan, I would recommend watching Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, Alien. Don't they have 4 main Alien movies?
I think so. Is that or it goes
Yeah.
to Prometheus as 4?
Just watch them all. I would not watch them Prometheus, Alien Covenant. You gotta watch them. Alien, Aliens, Alien 3. If there is another one, that one, Prometheus, then this one. That's how you should see it. Just so you understand what's going on. This is a movie for the fans, which not a lot of people do anymore.
Yeah.
But that was our spoiler review for Alien Covenant. Since Brandon, you did the intro, I'm gonna do the outro if that's all the same with you.
Yeah, it's all good.
So, yeah, I would highly recommend this movie. In my opinion, I would give it a 9 out of 10. Would you give it, Brandon?
Yeah, definitely a strong 9 out of 10. Like, obviously, it's not a
Yeah.
perfect movie. There will probably never be a all-time perfect movie. But
Well,
9 out of 10
Star
is
Wars
a...
5.
There is a really strong and hard place for that movie, and it definitely deserves a 9 out of 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, that's our review. This was a lot of fun. I think we should definitely do more of these. Yeah, I'm gonna do more of these regardless. So, because these are fun. So, let's see. You'll see one for Spider-Man: Homecoming, hopefully. And this is Skybound Gaming Out, and I'm sorry, Gaming Out. Later, guys.